Did this married woman kill her children for the man she was having an affair with or his father? Stay tuned to find out when we discuss the new chilling details in this case. Good morning, everyone. How are y'all today? I hope you're having a great day. This is a surprise video on a beautiful Sunday morning. I'm actually wearing my Raging Cajun UL sweatshirt because that's where I graduated from, and it is our homecoming this weekend down in Lafayette, Louisiana. Some of y'all may not know me. My name is Anne Marie, aka the Cajun Crime Queen from Carrico, Louisiana. Cajun born, Cajun bred, and when I die, I'll be Cajun dead. So, how's y'all morning going so far? Did y'all get up and go for a walk like I always tell y'all? Did y'all get your little tickers up? Remember, anytime you feel stressed, worried, don't think y'all can go another day, I'm telling y'all, get up, do some exercises, walk, run, call a friend, anything just to get your mind off of things. Life is too short to be miserable. That's what I've always said, and I agree with that. Today, I don't really have any story time. The only story time I tell y'all is that nothing to report. The weather's beautiful. We have beautiful weather out here right now, but that's about it. I actually am going to go for a run after I finish this video and filming for y'all. Who are we going to be talking about today? Drum roll, please. Susan Smith. We all know Susan Smith. She murdered her two sons by driving them into John D. Long Lake in 1994. Now, was it for her boyfriend that she was having an affair with, or was it for his father? Stay tuned to find out. Susan Smith was born September 26, 1971 in Union, South Carolina. She was a very sweet little girl. She had a very unstable childhood. Her father committed suicide when she was only 6 years old. Her mother remarried to a man named Beverly. At the age of 13, Susan tried to commit suicide. And at the age of 17, she tried to commit suicide when a married man she was dating dumped her. She was voted friendliest in high school. She was on the National Honor Society and actually graduated high school with honors. She was a very smart, sweet girl. In 1990, Susan started working at Winn-Dixie, the local Winn-Dixie in her town of Union, South Carolina, where she met David Smith. David Smith and Susan Smith hit it off. They began casual dating. I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm sure we've all done that. But anyway, he was engaged at the time to a girl named Christy. Well, I guess Susan was okay, or David was okay with that. I don't know if Susan knew, but I'm sure she did. But Susan would do sweet things for David, like take pictures, professional pictures of the Olin Mills. I'm showing my age, and give them to David as gifts. Only a year after they were dating, Susan finds out she is pregnant. David hurry up and tell his fiance. His fiance breaks up with him, obviously. And he and Susan decide to get married because neither one of them believe in abortion. So when Susan was only a young little girl, in my opinion, at the age of 20, she married David Smith. Now, times have changed. Now it's not hush hush. If a woman gets pregnant, it's not like, oh my God, let's hurry up and get married. It's more accepted now, which is a really good thing because no 20-year-old needs to rush into marriage, in my opinion. But some people are just in love and they want to get married, like my parents. But anyway, Susan was married and she started her life with David Smith. On October 10th, 1991, little Michael Daniel Smith was born. He was a loving child. He was sweet. He was cute. He completed their little family. When he was only 3 months old, Susan decided to go back to work at Winn-Dixie, as well as enrolling in some college courses at the local community college. She was great. She was loving, but her and David It was said they both had extramarital affairs. It was said that Susan was interested in material things in life, and that David and Susan became pregnant again in November of 1992. While Susan was pregnant, this pregnancy was totally different. She complained constantly about being fat, being ugly, being overweight, not feeling good about herself, which I hope David made her feel better, because we all know, I have two little girls. We all know when we're pregnant, we don't feel our prettiest sometimes. So I hope David was making her feel that way. Well, I don't know, because while she was pregnant, David started having an affair with one of the cashiers at Winn-Dixie. At this time, David was a supervisor. So he decided to break off the affair. He and Susan got back together. Not long after, their son, Alexander Tyler Smith, was born. But when he was only 3 weeks old, David and Susan decided their marriage was over for good. They were constantly separated, constantly moving out the house, constantly going back and forth. Susan just had enough, and she was like, I'm done. I'm done. Now, as y'all know, in all these cases, I dive, tread water, swim, lay out. I get all up in the case. Now, I did not go to Union, South Carolina to explore the scene, because, of course, I'm not even close to South Carolina. It's not like Houston or Baton Rouge or New Orleans or Houma. So I had to get to go, but I am going to put pictures up. After reading both their books, I actually read David's book about Susan twice. I read it in 2013 when I was in Hawaii. Couldn't put it down. I read it again last week. Couldn't put it down. The books are amazing. And you know what? Reading David's book and Susan's mother's book, I both feel that she was very loved, and I truly think that David Smith loved his little boys. He was an amazing father, did whatever he could for his kids. Just great, great father, and she had a great mother. But her stepfather wasn't the best guy, was not the best person. We're going to talk about him in just a little bit. Y'all don't forget, we're going to talk about Beverly in just a little bit. But Susan decided to end their marriage, and it was done for good now. Susan didn't want to work at the Winn-Dixie anymore because she did not want to work for David and his new girlfriend. Obviously, I agree. That would be crazy, right? And a very hostile environment. So Susan got a job as a bookkeeper for Conso Products. I don't know what that is, but this big company. Not long after she was hired, she became the assistant to his secretary, who was the CEO and president of the company, J. Carey Finley. Susan was introduced to the finer things in life while she worked at this job. She also started dating the son of the CEO, Tom Finley. Now, Susan was in love with Tom. He was the most eligible bachelor. He was full of money. Well, his father. He went to the best colleges. They had a mansion. She was just ready to go. She was totally head over heels for Tom. But not long after dating, Tom broke it off with Susan because he said she was very possessive, very needy, very clingy, just a very unstable person. But I think he was just having fun playing the field and dating whoever. But anyway, he actually wrote Susan a Dear John letter stating that he did not want children. He never did want children. He thought her children were great, but he just wasn't at the time of his life where he wanted anything to do with children. That really hurt Susan, but he broke up with her. On October 25th, 1994, it was just like every other day. Susan woke up. She went bring the babies to daycare. After bringing them to daycare, she went to work. And then she asked to leave early. When her boss asked why, she said, I'm in love with someone that doesn't love me back, and it hurts so much. And her boss said, who, Tom? And she said, yes. Now, at this point, Susan was very, very frustrated because it was said that Susan was also having an affair with Tom's father, who was actually the CEO and president of the company she was working for, Conso Products. So, I don't know. Now, supposedly, before picking up Michael and Alex from school, Susan decided to go to Tom's house, find him, confronted him, told him, which I don't know why a woman would do this. I have no clue, but whatever. She decided to tell Tom that she had been sleeping with her stepfather, Beverly, since the age of 15. She also told Tom that David was going to out her affair with his father and something about the IRS. It was weird. Now, of course, Tom was shocked. I mean, he's probably like, what? My father? IRS? What are you talking about? Well, Susan thought that would get Tom back. She thought that, okay, if I tell him I'm sleeping with my stepfather and his father, maybe he'll change his mind, which I never heard of that in my life. That's the last thing I would do or anybody I know would do. Why would you go, if you're trying to get a dude back, why would you go and say, I'm sleeping with your father and my stepfather? It's just weird to me. But Susan had a very troubled life and she was mentally unstable. I mean, it was obvious. It was absolutely obvious. She picked up her boys at 4:30 at daycare. Supposedly, stopped by this bar they would always go out. She stayed in the car. One of her friends came out to meet her and said that Tom wasn't there. And Susan said, well, did he talk about me? And the girl said no. So instead of Susan just moving on, later that night, she banged on someone's door, begging for help. When the lady opened the door, she said, oh my God, you got to call the police. Someone just took my kids. She said she was at a traffic light and a man approached her and told her to drive. And she said, where are we going? He said, shut up and drive or I kill you. I have a gun. Now, the whole thing sounds crazy because she said he stopped and told her to get out. And she said, why can't I have my kids? And he just drove off. So I don't know. I don't know how her story just didn't seem right. It just didn't seem right. Why would they let her go, but not the children? It was just weird. Well, police began to search and search and search. There was absolutely no signs of the boys or Susan's car. Susan and David went on several news outlets, begging for help, begging for her little boys to be found. And they were crying, they were upset. It was very hard. But I'm going to put some of the links down below so y'all can watch them. But Susan never shed a tear. She was crying, but she never shed a tear. I didn't see any tears. They gave Susan and David both lie detector tests. Susan failed hers. David didn't. The police confronted her about it. She was like, I don't know what y'all talking about. I did nothing. There's nothing that I did wrong, so y'all just need to keep searching. Well, her story began to unravel little by little. And how did that happen? She would say stuff like, well, I was stopped at this traffic light. Well, the only way that traffic light would turn if there was another car. So they knew that story was wrong. They knew that just didn't make sense. So Susan confessed. After, I think it was 12 days, she finally had enough. I mean, I guess all that pressure from the media, the cops, everything. She broke down. She asked the detective, can I have your gun? He said no. And in this little room, she confessed to killing her children. She said, my children are not okay. My children and my car are at the bottom of John D. Long Lake. That was explosive evidence and a shocking revelation to David. The divers hurry up and went and found the car and the boys. They found them in John D. Long Lake that night. They put flashlights when they finally found the car, and y'all, the babies were still strapped into their car seats, severely decomposed. They had been in the bottom of the lake for that long. It was heartbreaking. There's nothing those two little boys could have done to save their life. They were babies, and they were strapped to their car seats. Susan said that her main attempt that night was to kill herself. And she didn't want her babies to be without a mother, so she was going to do a murder-suicide. Well, she said she rolled down the lake, then stopped. And then backed up, rolled down again, and stopped. Finally, she said that she just let her kids roll down into the lake, which I don't know. I have no clue why. But anyway, that was the thing. I don't believe that story is true. That's just my personal opinion. Y'all don't come at me in the comments. I think that Susan wanted to be back with Tom Finley, and he didn't want any children. So I think Susan, her full idea that night was to drive her children and murder them and put them at the bottom of John D. Long Lake and come up with this elaborate story that didn't make sense and say, oh, that's it. Done. Well, Susan was sent to jail. The prosecution said that that they were gonna go after the death penalty, and that David Smith, who was her soon-to-be ex-husband and her the father of her little boys, he wanted the death penalty as well. Like everybody was just kind of like done. I mean, everybody was shocked and mad and upset. Oh, and I didn't tell y'all this. I can't believe I forgot. While they were searching for the boys, Susan turns to David and says, hey, listen, if Tom comes to see me, because he's worried about me, and he's my boyfriend, and he's worried about my children, so don't get angry if he comes. Why are you worried about some dude right now? What the hell? Like, at that point, I would have been like, are you stupid? But hey, like I always say, everybody's different. And it's everybody is different in their own way. They grieve different. They do things different. Not everybody does things the same. But anyway, the prosecution said that Tom was Susan's ticket to the good life. She was ready to go. She wanted to be with him, and there was nothing that was going to stop her. He was the most eligible bachelor, and she was going to get him. Well, Susan was diagnosed with major depression disorder and dependent personality disorder, which kind of makes sense because, as y'all can see, there's a pattern with Susan with all these domino effect of men. And she started having sex with her stepfather when she was 15, and the last encounter with him was just 3 months before the murder. So you'll have to understand, supposedly, she was said to be having an affair with Tom's father, the CEO. Come to find out, that was not true. Susan made all that up to try to get Tom back. But at this time, Susan was having sexual encounters with David, her soon-to-be ex-husband, Beverly, her stepfather, and Tom Finley. So it looks like she was trying to juggle all these men. I don't know if she, but now that she has dependent personality disorder, maybe that was one of the signs of the disorder, where she had to have all of this attention. She was dependent on so many people. That's just my personal opinion. But they did a reenactment for the jury of how the car sank. Y'all, they put a camera on the dashboard. I'll put the links down below. And so that the jury can see exactly what David and Michael see. Now, the car, y'all, it took 6 minutes. 6 minutes for that car to sink. It started like this. It went upside down. It was horrible. It finally sank. She had all the time in the world to save those babies, and she didn't. That's just heartbreaking to me. I couldn't watch that. Y'all know she was watching it. I could not have watched that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No child deserves that. No one deserves that. Susan did not receive the death penalty. She was sentenced to life in prison, and she would be up for parole next year, November of 2024, which in my opinion, there ain't no way she's getting out of jail, because no parole board to me would let her out after this horrendous act that she did. She's also been in trouble several times since she's been in jail. Y'all, she had sex with 2 guards. In 2000, she had sex with a guard, and he was fired, lost all his pension and everything, which I don't know what's wrong with cops. I don't know why would you have sexual relations or any type of relationship with a prisoner, but that's just my personal opinion. Everybody's different. But it was said that she told on him because she wanted to be transferred out of that jail to be moved to another jail because her family was close. So I don't know if there's truth to that. That was just, that was said. She has been in trouble several times for many infractions with the police while in jail with possession of drugs, which I don't know how prisoners are getting drugs. Maybe y'all can tell me in the comments below, but I've heard there are drugs in prison, which I don't know if that's true, but hey, I guess it is. But y'all, please tell me how these people are getting drugs inside the prison. She also was in trouble for mutilating herself. Just different things while she was in there. So she has not been a stellar prisoner. So I really don't think that a parole board is going to let Susan out. I really don't think so, but it could happen. I don't know, but in just a year, she will definitely be up for parole. My final thought. As y'all all know, I always give my final thought at the end of the video, and I tell y'all this. I think Susan was extremely depressed. I think she didn't know how to cope with everyday life. I think she had severe anxiety, depression, dependence. I think that she was a very unstable person, which I cannot stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. We need to educate ourselves on mental issues because we don't know what people go through. We don't understand what people go through every day. I don't. You don't. When people do things that they do, sometimes we have to think, did they hear that as a child? Did they witness this as a child? And with Susan's father committing suicide and them getting molested by her stepfather and having all these affairs, and it didn't matter if these men had girlfriends or wives. It's like she wanted all of this around her constantly. And I think that's because she was very dependent on all of this energy and attention and look at me and here I am. And when she didn't get that, I think it was hard for her to accept rejection from Tom Finley, who was just not going to, he wasn't going to get back with her. He was done. He was playing the field. He was an eligible bachelor. He was having a good old time in his life, whatever. That's him. But I want all of y'all to know that if any of y'all ever feeling down or upset or worried or anything, get your mind off of things. And remember, those precious babies, they didn't ask to be brought into this world. Nobody gave them that decision. So we have that decision. So we have to take care of the babies. Our babies didn't come with a book of instructions like, here you go, Mom, this is how you raise me. We have to raise them the way we think they should be raised. They are begging for us to tell them how to live and to teach them. And Susan just thought that a man that she was in love with didn't want her kids, so out with my kids. No dude, I don't know about y'all, no dude, no person, no one would ever be enough in my eyes to hurt my children. But we do not know Susan's mental issues. That's what I always say. We don't know what she was going through. Not all of us do everything by the book. Not all of us, because we have stuff going on with us. Okay? So just want y'all to remember that. I hope y'all enjoyed this morning's video. I hope it was a great surprise. I told y'all I would bring y'all to this week. And the next person we working on, Lord have mercy. Y'all get ready for this one because I'm not even going to give y'all a hint because it's crazy. But I just want to tell y'all again, thank you so much for the love and support y'all give me. Thank y'all for constantly watching my videos. Thank y'all for messaging me and telling me how wonderful it is to hear about these cases and to sit here and talk with me. I really appreciate it. And if it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't be here. I couldn't do this. But I love doing it for y'all. And I love diving, treading water, swimming, and laying out by the pool and giving y'all all the knowledge I can for this case. I hope y'all have a great rest of the day. I love y'all all very much. And I hope that you tune in to me this Wednesday for Wicked Wednesday. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment. It's a free way to help this Cajun girl out. And y'all never miss a video if y'all just press on that notification bell. Again, thank y'all so much. From this Cajun Crime Queen, Anne Marie. Bye.